Hey guys, welcome back. This is HD, and once again we're going to be looking at some bonus coverage footage of the IPL. This is the round of 64, and it is going to be between MyM.Cloud and ThisIsJimmy. ThisIsJimmy is actually a really cool guy. I've met him a couple of times before. Definitely awesome. And this is actually going to be a Terran versus Terran series. Unfortunately, I don't have that much background information on Cloud. I've never met the guy before, but from what I hear around the bush, he is actually a very, very good Terran player. Of course he is. He's on MYM. And this is going to be a mirror matchup to remember for the ages because I love Terran versus Terran. Every TBT that I ever watch has me captivated and stupefied. Whenever I watch ZVZ and PvP, I do enjoy watching it, but I really think TBT is the pinnacle of mirror matchups. Simply because there's so many different things that you can do in a Terran versus Terran matchup. You can really diversify. You can go with Marines, you can go with Hellions, you can go with Banshees, you can go with tanks, you can go with nukes if you're TLO, or you could just go for an all-in if you're a baller like Foxer. So, or aka Marine King Prime. So really, the possibilities are quite endless in TBT. I do enjoy it quite a bit. One interesting thing to note here is ThisIsJimmy is actually not gonna be building his barracks inside his base. He's deciding to wall off. And usually in TBT, you don't really need to wall off. There's no necessary reason to do so because, you know, in TVZ or TVP, you wall off to protect against the flood of Zerglings or the early Zealot pressure. But in Terran versus Terran, you can deal with a Wayward Marine quite easily. So it's really interesting that ThisIsJimmy decided to wall off, especially on this map. I feel like buildings being placed on this map leave them especially vulnerable to something like Marauders, Marines, or any kind of units out on the ground floor. So I hesitate to say why ThisIsJimmy decided to wall off. Perhaps that's just his style. Some players just wall off no matter what. So I'm not exactly sure what the case is here, but he is going to be scouting his SCV down below to do his due diligence. Meanwhile, ThisIsJimmy leaving a Marine down at the ramp below and is mining gas as per usual. So both players' build orders pretty identical here. I believe Cloud has a 1 SCV advantage, and he is going to be going right into a factory. So it is going to be a quick factory here for Cloud. Things looking very, very normal here. Obviously, a Terran player can either go straight into Banshees in a Terran versus Terran matchup, especially on this map, or they can go for some kind of a siege tank Marine combination. And these are all possibilities, so we'll see what Cloud is cooking up. Jimmy now actually moving his barracks back up, so I like that idea. Leave it, keep it out of the way of any hostile fire, and keep it at this location right here, which is a little bit safer. And now Jimmy is going to be throwing down a second barracks, and actually going to be going for a 1 barracks command center opening. Wow, really interesting. He's going to be going for a massive econ game here, and he is of course going to be vulnerable in these opening moments to any kind of early aggression. Now he is getting early gas just so he can get that stim pack upgrade and maybe a couple Marauders, but I would expect him to stop the gas mining fairly soon here because I really just don't see any reason to be mining gas unless he's going to be focusing on more of a Marauder heavy combination of units. And we'll see what happens. MyM.Cloud, meanwhile, is going to be going for a starport with Tech Lab, so he most likely is going to be going for Banshees. Yeah, he's just waiting for the Tech Lab to finish, and he's going to go straight into Banshee play here. And Jimmy is going to have his work cut out for him. He's going to need to make Marines, and he's going to need them pronto if he wants to deal with those Banshees. Luckily, he will have Stim done in time, and luckily, he will have that second orbital command, and that additional comm set is really going to come in handy if the Banshee has Cloak. Now it looks like a Hellion has found its way over to these Marines, but against 5 Marines, even though they are light, the Hellion just isn't really able to do that much damage to them and is going to fall back. Now it looks like the Banshee is starting to come on its way. A comm set reveals the Banshee though, so really nice comm set by ThisIsJimmy, and it looks like ThisIsJimmy is not going to be getting Cloak. What the? Ah, I see. He clicked the upgrade for Cloak to, well, he actually clicked the upgrade for whatever he saw first, just to trick ThisIsJimmy into thinking that Cloak Banshees were coming, when in fact there is no Cloak upgrade. Cloud is just making initial Banshee to do a little bit of harassment, and he's going to be playing a standard game from here on out. He is not going for Cloak Banshees whatsoever, but ThisIsJimmy may have been led to believe that there are Cloak Banshees regardless, simply because of that fake upgrade, so to speak. So the Banshee here is actually running into Marines, which is not really the best of ideas. Seeing as how Marines can't shoot the air. Cloud here needs to be careful, doesn't want to lose this initial Banshee. It's really quite an expensive unit, and it is now at 32 HP, but properly microed. Hellion can stay away from Marines, but it looks like ThisIsJimmy is going to use a stim pack on the pack of Marines and is able to kill off the Banshee. So now Jimmy is in a pretty solid commanding lead of this game. He's got much more economy. A Hellion here is going to come in and quickly spell doom for those 2 Marines, and now Cloud has the option of attacking some of these mules and some of these SCVs, but it looks like Jimmy immediately moving some Marines in range, and that is going to be the end of that Hellion harass. But now Cloud actually moving out with some Marines and a Raven. Wow, that is so interesting. The Raven obviously can be used for a lot of different possibilities. Auto turret comes to mind, especially this early on when energy is not sufficient for point defense drone or anything like that. We're probably going to be seeing some auto turret harass, and I think Cloud is going to be making a 2-pronged harass here, one in the front with Marines and the second in the back with the Raven in the mineral line. And I really like this play. A lot of Terran players don't use the auto turret, and they forget that it's a really potent unit, especially when your opponent is preoccupied. That turret can rack up some serious SCV kills, especially if you throw down 2. And hello, the auto turrets are here, but I feel like Cloud may have wasted that. I don't know why he decided to throw them down first. I think he should have attacked and then threw down the auto turrets, but perhaps he is using the auto turrets as a diversion. And then he's going to move in with his Marine and his tank and try to pick off this command center. And this may actually work out pretty well for Cloud. ThisIsJimmy actually not paying attention to his Marines, ends up losing all of them at the front, and that is going to pretty much be GG for ThisIsJimmy. Wow. That just goes to show a small diversionary move can cost you the game if you are not paying attention to your Marines. And pretty much that's it. Cloud able to wipe the floor of ThisIsJimmy and take a quick 1-0 commanding lead in this series of games. So stay tuned, guys. Another game is going to be coming up next. HD signing out.